Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Whittle here with Steve Green and Scott Ott. And over the course of the hundreds of thousands, pushing 10,000 shows that we've done, occasionally we'll do a show on, not even occasionally, often, we'll do a show on schadenfreude, German word, where you're taking delight in somebody else's misfortune. And we usually do that because the people whose misfortune we're taking delight in are not terribly good people, at least not by our lights anyway. And it's fun to see people who've been giving you and the country a hard time taking down a pig. We've got a clip to show you, and this is not schadenfreude. This is nothing like. No. It is fun to watch people who you despise get taken down a peg, or philosophies. But when you watch them get taken down 40 pegs, if you don't have some sense of empathy and sympathy, and I don't mean condescending pity, I mean genuine human connection to somebody who's been knocked down much further than they should. It's just not funny anymore. It's not fun anymore. It's not a game anymore. So we're going to present you with 46 seconds of I'll just play it for you. So, guys, I've seen a lot of TikTok videos on trans teachers, and I've seen a lot of them getting taken down, and I've seen a lot of arguing. I've seen a lot of them, getting their comeuppance, and I think, you miserable lowlifes. There wasn't a moment of this video that I thought was funny, not an instant. I didn't find this funny. I didn't find this satisfying. I didn't find this politically expedient. I just felt awful watching this. And Steve, we'll start with you. I didn't blame this person for going out there and doing this. I'll tell you who I did blame. I blame the Finnish organizers who put that person out there. Yep. That was the most appalling degradation of a human being in order to virtue signal that I have seen since the word virtue signal has come into common usage.
Yeah. Just for a little background for our viewers who might not know the full story, I can't remember the gentleman's name. It's Finnish.
Markku-Pekka Antikainen. Markku-Pekka Antikainen.
I'm pretty sure that I would just butcher it all to hell. And he has a female stage name, a performing name that I also can't remember. It's Finnish and long, and I'm sure I'd butcher it. He's 59 years old. He's a farmer. He decided at the age of 50 to become a female figure skater, and nobody told him no.
That's it.
Nobody.
And a lot of people told him yes.
Yeah, and the organizers of this event. Okay, so it's some sort of figure skating competition that was opened by a pageant for diversity. I got no problem with diversity. I have a problem with a 59-year-old man being told, oh, yeah, you should definitely go out there. The organizer should have said to him, at tryouts, thanks so much for trying out. You didn't quite make the cut. Better luck next year. The same thing you say to every other skater who isn't good enough to do this. You don't want to humiliate somebody, except they did, in the worst possible way by sticking him out there on the ice. And, Bill, for me, the biggest humiliation wasn't how awkward a skater he was, or that he looks like a 59-year-old farmer wearing a sparkly dress, or even that he fell down. The most humiliating moment was when an actual female figure skater, who's maybe half his weight, was the one who skates up to him and, showing genuine feminine grace and strength, helped him back up off his knees. For somebody who's been under the delusion for the last decade that he's a real girl, having to go through that ordeal in front of all of those people, and now in front of the entire world via the internet, I can't even imagine. And the saddest thing is people who suffer from gender dysphoria have the highest suicide attempt rate of any other group of people you could possibly define in the entire world. It's something like 40%. And that figure doesn't change with hormones or with surgery. People who undergo all of that stuff still end up with a suicide attempt rate of about 40%. And I've been saying ever since this madness started a couple of years ago that everything we're doing isn't helping. Well, you see this poor guy out there and you realize we're doing much worse than not helping. We are actively harming these people, and what a damn shame that this thing went viral.
Scott, it's not like there was a parade and this person just walked up into the parade, right? It wasn't like nobody knew how good a skater this guy was. This is the part that really makes me enraged at the Finnish organizers of this. There's no question that the people that put him out on the ice to show how progressive Finland is knew how bad of a skater he really was, right? There's no question about that. And so that's what makes me even more angry. What they were expecting is, I think, because I can't think of another explanation for it, what the Finnish progressives and woke politicians and organizers that did this were saying is, look at how advanced we are. We are going to put a trans person out there, even if they're terrible, because of how much we respect and love trans people. There was a beauty contest, 2 months ago, and the winner was a completely overweight trans male, right, who was not in any way attractive as a male or a female, won the beauty pageant because everybody wanted to show everybody else just how inclusive they were and how tolerant they were and all the rest of it. But what they ended up doing, in my opinion, is, look, it's hard to get torqued about Finland as a general rule, right? I don't spend a whole lot of my last 15 years getting really torqued about Finland, but this isn't even about Finland. This is about this progressive policy. They sent somebody out there to show the world how advanced they are, and they knew that this person was not a figure skater, and they did it anyway for the virtue signal points. And when you look at that skater out there, I think, Steve, the name you were talking about, I think the performance name is Minna Maria Antikainen. That individual looks like they're in distress. From the first moment, they look like they're in distress. And when you see people in distress, it's not funny. It's just, you just want to help them, right? You want to let's just get this person out of the spotlight and put an end to this horror.
When I first got the video, I had it with no introduction, and the subject line was written in, some fake language, not English. And so I saw that, and I was like, I thought it was a comedy sketch. I thought it was on the order of something from Benny Hill, that they thought it would be hilarious to do this. And then I went and tried to learn something about this. And as it turns out, the Finnish authorities say, yes, you're right. They knew that this person was not a good skater. However, one of the things they wanted to show in the opening ceremonies, which is what you were watching in this video, was they didn't want to just show off professional skaters. They wanted to show skaters of all different levels of capability to open up kind of the skating world to more participants. They're just basically trying to promote skating by showing people of all different levels. And I can get that.
But did you see anybody else out there that was on that level?
No.
No, me neither.
But that guy was at the level of skating where you need somebody to hold your arm while you skate. And the saddest thing to me was when he went down, he could not get back up. He had to have that young woman come over and help him because he was not capable of rising to his feet. Now, it gets worse when you find out more, because since about 2014, he has been in training as a skater. He has enlisted the help of a professional who I think was like a champion Finnish skater in 1985. And so I don't know if he hired the person or somebody else paid for him to have this person help him, but he has had this professional coach. He practices, according to the story I read, 6 times a week. And that was his level of accomplishment. And it just made me think the same people who can't say to him, look, man, you may be good at a lot of things, but it ain't this. And I appreciate your work ethic, but you've been working on this for years, 6 times a week with the best coaching money can buy, and you can barely stay on your feet. This is not your sport. This is not your thing, are the same people who can't look him in the eye and say, listen, man, you're a man. And something's wrong because you don't get that. And something's wrong because you think you're going to be a female figure skater. You need help. You don't need society to pat you on the back and say, you go, girl. You need somebody to take you aside and say, let's figure out what's going on here and see if we can get you some treatment.
Yeah, and Scott, even the part where he's in a dress isn't the thing. Actual figure skaters, they start training when they're 5, 6, 7 years old. 50, I wouldn't have tried that when I was 50, and I'm turning 54 here in a couple of months. I can't even imagine that even if I decided to pursue this as a hobby at my age, close to his age, that I would dare do it in front of an audience and with TV cameras. Oh, God.
It's been my privilege to do an awful lot of speaking events, hundreds and hundreds of them. Did one last week. That's why I had to miss the last week's Right Angles. And when you're in the spotlight, or even something as simple as like a Stratosphere Lounge show, when you are on and you have to take a drink of water or you have to check and look for a file, time slows to a crawl. If I'm in front of a room full of people, in the amount of time it takes me to take a shot of water from a bottle, that's probably 2 or 3 seconds. It feels like 2 or 3 minutes. It's unbearable. And for this person to be out there under that spotlight, and not just under the spotlight, you are basically carrying your country's flag on top of it, right? This was one of the cruelest things I have seen since I've been doing this. The cold-bloodedness of it from the organizers, who, again, it's not like this guy just walked in, you know? I mean, they knew full well the level, as Scott pointed out, of talent that this guy had or didn't have. And they can argue, well, we had all different kinds of skaters. I didn't see anybody else in the spotlight coming out, you know? I didn't see anybody else on center ice. I saw this guy being put out there so that everybody would see how progressive Finland is and what a swell bunch of progressives they are and how inclusive they are and all the rest of it. And all I do coming out of this is saying those are the cruelest people I think I've seen in a long, long time. You should all be ashamed of yourself. Everybody on that Finnish team should be ashamed of yourself, with the exception of Markku-Pekka and Antikainen, who should not be ashamed of himself or herself as you please. Took nerve to get out there and do that, right? I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. This madness is going to continue until good people tell it to stop, right? Until this unfortunately, sadly, is exactly the kind of thing that has to happen and keep happening until decent people finally say enough of this, right? It's like that's what ended the House Un-American Activities thing, right? Finally, somebody stood up and said, "Have you no decency, sir? You know, have you no decency?" So, Finnish Ice Skating Commission or whoever you are, have you no decency? Really?